we completed the effect of taxation on production and growth. Now, write some lines and then I will try to explain that why this topic is important, or why we want to discuss about the effect of taxation on distribution. The market mechanism by itself generates over widening income inequalities.
Please repeat.
The market mechanism by itself generates overriding income inequalities. And the objective of reducing income inequalities is likely to come in conflict with the objective of increasing production and growth. In the short run, any income and wealth distribution pattern can go in harmony with the production level. In this situation, it may be assumed that the total national product is already there. And the problem is to determine the shares of the individual members of the society. But in the long run, a reduction in inequalities brought about by taxation might be counterbalanced by increasing inequalities of the pre-taxed incomes. This problem may be solved. By very steep taxation, STEEP, steep taxation, so as to practically mop off OFF, to practically mop off the taxation
Ma'am, to
practically mop off the incomes and thereby effectively checking tax evasion. Now we will discuss these lines. If you see, the market mechanism by itself generates overriding income inequalities. That is a statement with which you begin your effect of taxation on distribution. Distribution means once the production takes place, then who does the production? The factors of production. Now, these factors contribute in the production process, and once they contribute, then the GNP occurs, gross national product, the total national product is going to happen. Now, that production is going to be distributed among the factors of production in a more optimal manner. The objective is to distribute the incomes happening from the production. This production will be sold and the factors will be getting remuneration for their contribution in the production process. For example, you have studied it in BA first year, like the landlord gets the rent, the laborer will get the wages, the capitalist will get the interest. So these become the incomes. Now, whether that income distribution is going to be equitable or not will determine the whole sole objective of the government. Now, market mechanism, if it becomes strong, if you leave everything on the demand and supply forces, as Adam Smith advocated, then what will happen? The capitalist will be dominant, the corporates will be dominant, because everything will be sold in the market price. So those who are not able to purchase things at the market price will be excluded from their consumption, and automatically it will create inequalities. Like there will be a gap between the capitalist and the labor class. So that is why you have written this statement that market mechanism creates income inequalities. That is for sure. Now, the objective of reducing inequality is going to be in conflict with that of increasing production and economic growth. That means one objective of the government public policy is to increase production and hence economic growth in terms of increase in GDP, increase in GNP. That is how the government tries to strive for. That is one of the economic objective of the government. On the other hand, we try to see that if economic growth happens, it doesn't make sure that that growth is going to be percolated among all the members of the society. It might be that that income is going to be concentrated into few hands, and that's why the growth may not be equally distributed among all the members of the society. So if you want to now the another objective of the state is to reduce inequality. Now if this kind of gap exists in the society between the capitalist and the labor class, as Marx also said, that Karl Marx, उन्होंने दास कैपिटल एक किताब लिखी थी जिसमें उन्होंने इसी के बारे में बात की कि अगर हम कैपिटलिज्म को स्ट्रॉन्ग करेंगे जैसा कि मार्केट मैकेनिज्म में होता है, then automatically the whole economy will be divided into two parts, and the capitalist will be interested only in his profit. He will be dealing with the exploitation of the labor class. So that is what we are trying to look at this. So now the government comes in, and the government objective is to reduce this inequality, because otherwise if there will be inequality, then what will be the problems? Can you tell me? If there will be inequality in the income and wealth distribution, what will be the problems? Use your mind.
Ma'am, lack of demand.
Lack of demand, right? ये इकोनॉमिक टर्म्स में हो गया। और कोई भी प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी, इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम्स तो होंगी ही, लैक ऑफ डिमांड होगी, automatically that means if demand will be less, then later on you need lesser supply also, and the production will be discouraged. That is one angle. Any other problem? If there will be a gap between the rich and the poor, the capitalist and the labor.
Ma'am, the poor will suffer, they won't get the goods.
Right, the poor will suffer, the poor will not be getting even the basic necessities will not be supplied with, right? Any other problem?
Ma'am, social inequality will increase.
इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल दोनों इनइक्वालिटी होगी। सोशल इनइक्वालिटी से क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है जो यहाँ सोशियोलॉजी के
crimes would increase.
Crimes would increase, there will be class conflicts, there will be strikes, there will be lockouts, right? So the one issue is, if the government comes in to reduce inequality, then what it can do? It can impose steep taxation on the rich income group so that their excess income can be wiped off, as you have written, mop off their extra incomes. So one way of doing this or reducing inequality is putting extra taxes on the rich, as we do in the progressive taxation system, and mopping off their extra incomes and spend it back on the poor people or on the welfare schemes. But if this kind of step is going to be in conflict with the objective of increasing production and growth. Why? Because these rich people are the ones who are saving and investing for the economic growth of the country. If you read the history of planning in India, if you read the history of freedom struggle in India, you can know that economics is behind everything, right? So we need money for financing everything, whether we want a freedom struggle to happen, whether we want a planning to happen, whether we want the industrialization to happen, everywhere we need this capitalist support. And that is why whenever the government wants to do it in isolation with the, keeping in mind the business class, then what will happen? They will be discouraged to save and invest for the economic growth, and ultimately they will try to evade the tax also. And this is going to hamper the total production and the economic growth of the country, which you reflect in the economic indicators. So that is why you have written this line, that the objective of reducing inequalities is likely to come in conflict with that of increasing production and growth. If government steps in and the government wants to reduce inequality by imposing more taxes on the rich people, then automatically it will be good. It can fetch more revenue for the government in terms of taxes, and the government is able to spend it back on the welfare of the poor people who cannot afford to buy each and everything at the market price. But then it is going to increase inequalities. It is going to, increase. It is going to lessen the investment for the economic growth of the country. So in a way, ultimately, again, economic indicators are going to be adversely affected, and these problems will occur. So now, after this, you are analyzing it into two periods, like short period and long period. शॉर्ट रन में क्या होता है, क्योंकि टाइम कम होता है इसलिए हम उतना ज्यादा उन प्रॉब्लम्स की तरफ ध्यान नहीं देते. And sometimes we may, income and wealth distribution pattern may go in harmony with the production level. Maybe we are assuming that the GNP is already there, the total production has happened, and now what we have to do, we have to distribute it among the different members of the society. Now that inequality will be created or not will be a subject matter of the long run. Only when that kind of distribution takes place, goes into the hands of the people, only then, and the resultant problems which you have just listed comes in, then only we are alert that, oh, this kind of distribution we never wanted, this kind of economic growth we never wanted. So in the long run, this reduction can be done by steep taxation and mopping away the extra incomes in the form of taxes. And another way is to check the tax evasion, because then the rich people will try to evade taxes. So the government has this particular role in reducing inequality in income and wealth distribution on the one hand, and effectively increasing the production and economic growth on the other hand. Sometimes they may gel with each other, sometimes they may not. And that is why the role of the government in a developing economy like India becomes more crucial, because here we can't do without finance on the one hand, and on the other, we have the larger group of people who are below the poverty line. So these kinds of socio-economic problems, the infrastructural problems are more prevalent in a country like India. Now, that is why we must keep some points in this connection. We must keep in mind certain points in this connection. Number one, unless there is a complete political and economic revolution in the country, unless there is a complete economic and political revolution in the country, a quick redistribution of income and wealth is not a possibility. A quick redistribution of income and wealth is not a possibility. And the process is a time-consuming one. For example, the process is a time-consuming one. For example,
Ma'am, can you repeat it?
firstly, unless there is a complete economic and political revolution in the country, a quick redistribution of income and wealth is not a possibility. And so the process is a time-consuming one. If the measures like progressive taxes, if the measures like progressive taxes, wealth tax, gift tax, property tax, are to be used,
Unlike
especially
progressive tax,
progressive tax, wealth tax, gift tax, property tax are to be used, especially when the institutions of private property and inheritance is a strong one, especially when the institutions of private property and inheritance is a strong one. This is the first point which we must keep in mind while talking or discussing about the effect of taxation on distribution of income and wealth. That a complete political and economic revolution is necessary. And for complete political and economic revolution, you need much time, and especially in a country where you have institutions of private property, inheritance, these things are inbuilt. And that is why if you want to take away that extra property, that extra accumulated wealth in the form of property tax, gift tax, these things are going to create more problems, administrative problems and time gaps. So the government immediately cannot solve the problem of inequality in income and wealth distribution. So that is one of the problems, or one of the points which we have to keep in mind. Secondly, even if we can reduce the inequalities, even if we can reduce the inequalities of income and wealth distribution, in the short run, the long-term repercussions,
Ma'am, please repeat.
even if it is possible to reduce the inequalities in income and wealth distribution in the short run, the long-term repercussions of this policy can't be ignored. As we just discussed, that in the short run, the government may try to take those steps which can reduce inequality by imposing progressive taxes, by imposing higher taxes on the rich income group. But in the long run, its after effect will be the adverse effect on economic growth, investment, savings of these people. And so it will have long-term repercussions on the economic indicators which are vital for the economy. And third point, in an underdeveloped country like ours, use of taxation in an underdeveloped country like ours, use of taxation for reducing inequalities in income and wealth distribution has its own limitations. For example,
Use of
in
taxation.
an underdeveloped country like ours, use of taxation for reduction in inequalities of income and wealth distribution has its own limitations. For example, direct taxes with its progressive rates, covers only a fraction of the population. For example, income tax is a kind of direct tax which is based on progressive rates. Covers only a fraction of the population. For example, income tax. And you can elaborate. On the other hand, indirect taxes is inflationary in nature and regressive. Indirect taxes is inflationary in nature and regressive and aggravates further inequalities. So this is the third point which we have to keep in mind while discussing the effect of taxation on distribution aspect. What we are trying to look at in this point is that use of taxation on a distribution has its own limitations. And taxes may be of two types, as we already know. Direct tax, for example. Now, direct tax, income tax, for example, is based on progressive taxation rates. Higher income groups are liable to pay higher, and lower income groups are liable to pay lower, and some income groups are exempted. Now, what happens in a country like India, lot of people are exempted from that income tax or bracket, and that means this kind of direct tax is falling on only a particular strata of people, only a fraction of the population. So the coverage, the scope of direct tax is not widespread in this situation. So automatically the revenue will be limited. The progressive taxation will be not able to, create that kind of scope or coverage. Now, on the other hand, if you talk about indirect taxes has a wide coverage, no problem about that. But then indirect taxes are included in the price of the product. For example, sales tax, excise duties. Now they are included in the price of the product. As soon as they are included in the price of the product will go up, and it creates inflation. So we have to keep in mind that how much taxes should be imposed in terms of indirect taxes so that it doesn't become double-digit inflation. Otherwise, inflation will be affecting economic development in an adverse manner. So inflationary nature जो इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स का है वो एक प्रॉब्लम करता है. अगर आप ये कहें कि टैक्सेस में हम इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को यूज करते हैं for reducing inequalities in income and wealth distribution, and automatically, since indirect taxes are included in the prices of the commodities and commodities are being used by rich and poor both, so automatically it will be regressive, because higher income group will be spending less and the poor income group will be spending more. It will create more inequalities. So we have to keep all these points in mind when we are talking or discussing about the effect of taxation on distribution. So this is all which we need to talk about in the effect of taxation on distribution. If you remember, I had already put in two diagrams in your WhatsApp group. One was the Lorentz curve and the other is Gini coefficient. So I will want you all to just look at WhatsApp diagrams if you have. Otherwise, we can just briefly touch upon them because they might be asked in short note, or even if they are not asked, they are very important for competitions. So I will just share the screen and try to draw the diagram once more and try to elaborate on them. So we start with measurement of inequality in two ways. This is the first diagram which we are making. My pen is batteries is out, so I am just drawing it with the pen finger only. This is called Lorentz curve. Lorentz, Lorentz curve. Lorentz curve is named after Lorentz, who made this curve to show the inequality in the income and wealth distribution and how to measure it. He made a 45-degree line like this, and this line is called the line of equality. You can write it. This is the line of equality which we are showing. This is a 45-degree line. So when you make it with the scale, you make it a point that it is a straight line. On the x-axis, we are showing the cumulative percentage of population. Percentage of population you are showing on x-axis, and on the y-axis, we are showing the cumulative percentage of income. Right? Now, if you see, there are two curves which we will make. One is this, and the other is this. This is this you can term as, L1, L1, L2, L2. This is how he talked about the line of equality, that the countries don't progress on this 45-degree line of equality. If it would have been that case, then it would not have been a problem. This is 0 and this is 100%. You know. So if you want to write some lines here, you can write here. And if you see the diagram, we have dropped a perpendicular here where they intersect. Say this is 70% of the population, and here we say 10, 20, and we make it like this, say 20. So in the diagram, it is shown that on the x-axis we are showing the cumulative percentage of population, and on the y-axis we are showing the cumulative percentage of income. And this is a box diagram which Lorentz has suggested. And in this, 70% of the population is enjoying around 20% of the incomes. That shows the inequality. 70% of the poorest population enjoys 20% of the total income. And if income is distributed equally amongst all income groups, then the equality will be, line will be straight line, showing that the percentage share of income is equally enjoyed by the percentage level of population. This is the Lorentz curve. L1, L1 and L2, L2 are the Lorentz curve. And the difference between this Lorentz curve and the 45-degree line shows that the degree of inequality in distribution.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the curves that are there, they are starting from the point of origin, that is O.
Yes. They are starting from the point of origin. Both of them.
Okay, ma'am.
So the gap between the Lorentz curves, L1, L1 and L2, L2, and the line of equality will show the level of inequality in the distribution of income and wealth. Now say we call it E point, जो 70 पे हमने दिखाया. With the bottom OE percentage of population, income inequality has decreased, while for richer population above 70% or above OE, the inequality has increased. That means you are showing the Lorentz curve for two kinds of population and trying to show that they are depicting inequalities for the two groups groups of people living in the economy or society. One of the limitation of this Lorenz curve is that if we are to compare inequality between two populations, then the two curves must not intersect each other, क्योंकि दोनों ग्रुप्स की इनइक्वालिटी डिफरेंट होगी, लेकिन यहाँ पे जहाँ पे इंटरसेक्ट कर रहे हैं वो पॉइंट ये दिखा रहा है कि इस पॉइंट पे L1 और L2 की जो इनइक्वालिटी है दोनों ग्रुप्स की वो सेम है. And this intersection point we derive just to show the level of inequality, that 70% of the population is owning around 20% of the income. So this is just for short note and important for your career. So that is why I told you about the Lorenz curve, which is one of the measurement of inequality methods. Now the next area where we try to analyze the effect of taxation on economic stability. Taxation and economic stabilization is another area where we try to analyze the effect of taxation. Now, as we know, we start with the market mechanism playing a strong role in the economy, and as soon as the market becomes dominant, there are disturbances, there are cyclical fluctuations occurring in the economy. And okay, you have English class, so I am finishing it just now. You can put up the heading taxation and economic stabilization, and we will continue with this in the next class. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.